There's absolutely no shortage of mysterious happenings and unexplained phenomena, along with channels and sites dedicated to exploring them, this obviously being one of them. And it's on that note that we jump into today's video. 5 of our personal favorite strange mysteries from around the world. In June 2014, Maria and Derek Brodus and their 3 young children were getting ready to move into their new home, 657 Boulevard in Westfield, New Jersey. They claimed the 6-bedroom house was their dream home and located just a couple of blocks away from Maria's childhood home in one of the top 30 safest cities in the United States. Just 3 days after closing the sale, before the family had even begun to move in, a letter arrived in their new mailbox. The letter was addressed to the new owner in big, clunky handwriting. Inside read as follows. Now, it should be noted that different sources say the letter said different things, and I'm just gonna sort of paraphrase it here.
Dearest new neighbor at 657 Boulevard, allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood. How did you end up here? Did 657 Boulevard call to you with its force within? 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now. As it approaches its 110th birthday, I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s, and my father watched it in the 1960s. It is now my time. Who am I? There are hundreds and hundreds of cars that drive by this home each day. Maybe I'm in one. Look at all the windows you can see from 657 Boulevard. Maybe I'm in one of them. Look out any of the many windows of that home at all the people who stroll by each day. Maybe I am one.
The letter also mentioned specifics about the family.
You have children? I have seen them.
The letter continued.
So far, I think there are 3 that I've counted. Do you need to fill the house with the young blood that I requested? Better for me. Was your old house too small for the growing family, or was it greed to bring me your children? Once I know their names, I will call them and draw them to me.
At the bottom of the letter, the author used a cursive font to sign, The Watcher. After receiving the letter, the Brodus family reached out to the previous family who had sold them the house, John and Andrea Woods. They stated that during the 23 years of living at the home, they had never once received a letter like that except once a few days before they were getting ready to move out of the house. The Woods family also stated they had never felt watched in the 2 decades they lived there, and in fact rarely felt the need to lock their door at night. While they still thought the note they received was odd, they threw it away without much concern. Still, the 2 families went to the police with the letter, and an investigation was opened. The police warned the families not to tell anyone about the letters, including their neighbors who were now all suspects. 2 weeks later, even though the Brodus family still hadn't moved in, they received a second letter with even more chilling specifics about the family, including the children's birth order and nicknames. The Watcher also asked,
Will the children sleep in the attic, or will you all sleep on the 2nd floor? Who has the bedrooms facing the street? I will know as soon as you move in. It will help me to know who is in each bedroom. Then, I can plan better.
Several weeks later, the family had put their plans on hold to move in, and a third letter arrived saying,
Where have you gone to? 657 Boulevard is missing you.
By the end of 2014, the case had stalled. There was no digital trail, and the mental effects were taking a toll on the family. There were no fingerprints and no way to place somebody at the scene of the crime. Only 6 months after they received the letters, they decided to sell the home. 657 Boulevard has been sold and is currently off the market, while the Watcher's identity still remains a mystery. In December 1948, a body was found on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. The body belonged to a man who was dressed impeccably in a suit with polished shoes, and his head was slumped against a wall. Authorities thought the cause of death was heart failure or, more likely, poisoning. However, during the autopsy, no trace of poison was found. There wasn't a wallet or any type of identification on the man, and all the tags in his clothing were cut out. The fingerprints that the authorities took of him were also unidentifiable. They even put a photo of the body in the newspaper, and still, no one could identify who the man was. 4 months later, after the body was found, detectives found a hidden pocket that was sewn on the inside of his trousers. Inside the pocket was a rolled up piece of paper from a rare book called the Rubaiyat. The piece of paper had the words on it, which means it has ended. After months of looking for the exact book, authorities decided to bury the Somerton man without identification. The body was embalmed for preservation purposes. 8 months later, a man walked into the police station. He claimed that just after the body was found, he found a copy of the Rubaiyat in the back of his car that he kept parked near Somerton Beach. He thought nothing of it until he read the search in the newspaper article. Sure enough, the book had a part of the final page that was torn, and it matched the piece of paper that was found in the Somerton man's trousers. Inside the book was a phone number and some sort of strange code. The phone number led the authorities to a woman named Jessica Thompson who lived nearby. During her interview, she was very evasive and even claimed she was going to faint when she saw the bust of the Somerton man, but denied knowing him. However, she said she did sell the book to a man named Alfred Boxall. Unfortunately, he was still very much alive at the time and still had the copy of the Rubaiyat that Jessica had sold him. The code that was found ended up being even more unhelpful, and as of today, it is still yet to be cracked. To this day, the man on Somerton Beach has yet to be identified. On December 4th, 1872, a British-American ship called the Mary Celeste was found abandoned and floating in the Atlantic Ocean. It was found to be perfectly seaworthy and with its cargo fully intact, except for a lifeboat it appeared had been boarded and in an orderly fashion. But why? We may never know because no one on board was ever heard from again. The Mary Celeste set sail from New York, bound for Genoa, Italy, in November 1872. The ship was manned by Captain Benjamin Briggs and 7 crew members, including Briggs's wife and their 2-year-old daughter. Supplies on board were set to last for 6 months, and there were luxurious items on board, including a sewing machine and an upright piano. Historians and commentators generally agree that to abandon such a worthy ship, some extraordinary and alarming circumstance must have arisen. However, the last entry on the ship's daily log reveals nothing unusual, and inside the ship, all appeared to be in order. Conspiracy theories naturally over the years have included mutiny, pirate attack, and even a giant octopus or a sea monster attack. However, the true cause behind this ghost ship today remains unsolved. In Scotland, there lies a bridge called the Overtoun Bridge that seems to call dogs to jump to their death. Since the early 1960s, over 50 canines have perished and hundreds more have leapt but survived, with some returning for a second leap onto the jagged rocks that lie 50 feet below. The Scottish Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals has sent representatives to investigate, but with no luck at all. In terms of scientific truth, it is debatable that dogs are capable of forming a suicide attempt at all. Yet, something is luring dogs off the Overtoun Bridge, often from the same spot and always on sunny, dry days. Many theories have conspired, including that the bridge is haunted, a small animal is marking the area with an irresistible scent, or a sound exists below the bridge that only dogs can hear. Whatever is causing this phenomenon, dog owners crossing this bridge would be wise to take extra caution and keep their dogs on leashes. On March 13, 1997, a string of 5 lights in a V formation appeared in the sky above Phoenix, Arizona. The National UFO Reporting Center reported that the first call about the lights came in at around 8:16 p.m. from a retired police officer in Paulden, Arizona, which is about 2 hours north of Phoenix. After that, the National UFO Reporting Center began to receive a slew of calls south of Paulden, suggesting that the lights were moving in a southeastern direction. Allegedly, there were over 700 witnesses who had seen the lights, including pilots, police officers, and military officials who lit up the National UFO Reporting Center switchboard, demanding explanations. Some described the lights as orbs, others said triangles. However, a large number of witnesses described the lights as part of a singular massive craft that made no noise at all. Around 10 p.m., a second set of as many as 9 lights appeared in the sky. A laser printer technician, Dana Valentine, claimed to have witnessed the craft from his yard in Phoenix, quoted as saying, "We could see the outline of the mass behind the lights, but you couldn't actually see the mass." He reported it was more like a gray distortion of the night sky, wavy. "I don't know exactly what it was, but I know it's not a technology the public has heard before." Air traffic controllers could not see the lights on the radar, despite seeing them in the sky with their own eyes. Frances Barwood, the 1997 Phoenix City Councilwoman who led the investigation into the event, said that of the over 700 witnesses she interviewed, the government never interviewed even one. To this day, the unexplained Phoenix lights still remain a mystery. Thank you for watching this episode of The Next Files. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded, but we are planning to get back on our uploaded schedule. It's going to be 2 videos a month now. It's a little bit more manageable. Anyways, hope you've enjoyed. We'll see you next time.